Yo, it's your host with the most, MO from Chicago, back again on another LIVE. As I promised you, the last live, I promise you this will be a better one. Sinful the P. I keep hearing Sinful the P. I turn on my YouTube channel. Sinful the P is always doing live streams. So one day, I decided to listen to the young man. Yes, he's from Chicago. He's a pimp. Is he a pimp or is he a molester, a child trafficker, sex trafficker, or is he a pedophile? Because just from my understanding, he's not a pimp. He's a chump. Now, I'm going to give you receipts on this thing too. I'm going to give you receipts on this thing because anytime a grown man has sex with a 13-year-old who turned 14 when the case was brought to court and she's already impregnated, okay, is Sinful the P a child molester? Is he a sex trafficker? He says he's a pimp all the time. He even talks about how he have to rearrange, the mouthpiece of a chick when she gets out of pocket. Don't he have daughters? Don't he have daughters? Let me say something here in the chat real fast. I've been watching this cat for a couple of months. Not that I follow him, but I'm trying to get a grip on how this chump has all of these subscribers and all of these followers in the chat that donate to him. Obviously, they must have a low IQ and are on a very low vibration. Yeah. Now, he's 24 years old at the time when the case came up. In fact, about it, let me show you something. He even put his own information out there online because maybe he felt that it was necessary or maybe he felt that it was going to come up. But I want you to listen to me real good and listen to Philip Gilmore. Philip Gilmore, a.k.a. Sinful the P. Check this out.
Parole and probation report, Judge, it seems as though one of the reasons why they're recommending probation is because this is the defendant's first felony conviction. But the state submits that the department loses sight of two important things. One is that the defendant had two other felony cases, battery domestic violence case and another pandering case that were dismissed during the prosecution of this case. And two, a lot of times with pandering or sexual abuse cases, the defendants don't have a criminal history. And that's certainly not a reason to say, hey, they don't have a record, so let's go ahead and give them probation because they deserve a chance.
We're going to stop right there for a minute. Pause. They say that he's a woman beater. How many times? How many times? During the course of this case. But they had to drop it. Why? Because they're going for a stronger conviction. They're going for a stronger conviction. That's how the state run things. And even though he's never had an arrest record, now he's 24 years old, being charged with prostitution and sex trafficking and child molestation. Now he says that the girl said that she was 19 years old. That's what she told him. But if you're a grown man and you 24 years old, can't you tell the difference between a 13-year-old and a 19-year-old? And if you had any questions, did you ask her to present any ID to show that she was 19? And according to the DNA that the court ran, once the baby was born, it is your DNA. There's no way you cannot say, or do you say, You know, what do you think? Is he a child molester? Is he a child molester? And people donate money to a child molester. Does that make any sense to you? A child molester has how many subscribers? Is that what it takes to be molested or to be a child molester? I'm just saying. Shall we continue? Check it out. Check out what Philip Gilmore tells you. And mind you that he pleaded guilty. He pleaded guilty to how many years? To how many years? Check it out. But he made a deal. Check it out.
Something that may be viewed by some as unconventional, certainly I'm sure by Mr. Gilmore, but we're requesting a 19 to 48 on count 1, and we're also requesting a 12 to 30 on count 2, and we're asking that those run consecutive. We feel that's an appropriate sentence for a number of reasons. The facts and circumstances of this case certainly warrant it. The victim, Lakeisha Jordan, was 14 years old at the time of this case. She was just a child. And she was pregnant. The defendant denied having sexual intercourse with her, and yet after that baby was born, DNA was done, and sure enough, it comes back as the defendant's baby. So we have a 24-year-old man having sexual intercourse with a 14-year-old little girl. He's not just a pimp, Judge. He's a sex offender. He preyed on a 14-year-old girl, had sexual intercourse with her, and now has fathered a child. The second reason is he accepts absolutely no responsibility whatsoever. He denies.
We're going to stop there. We're going to stop there right there, okay? Did y'all hear that? He was 24 years old, and she was 14, but she was 13 when he put his penis inside her vagina. Grown man. Is Sinful the P a child molester? Is he? What is the legal age? I mean, like, how can he get out of that? How can he get out of not saying that he's not a child molester? You're 24 years old, and you don't know the difference between a 13-year-old girl. Now, listen to the story that he gives. He even calls the young lady a hoe at the age of 13. He said that she's been doing it since 12, but check him out. Check him out in court. And he's going to tell you that he pleaded guilty to the case. But how does he get? Can I get those subscribers? I'm just saying. Check him out. We're not done with this guy yet. I've been meaning to get on him for a minute.
Which is a coincidence then that the night he's arrested, he's in a hotel room with two females, both of whom have multiple arrests for soliciting prostitution and loitering for the purpose of prostitution. The victim in this case was also a victim in the battery domestic violence case that he had that was eventually dismissed. And another female that he had contact with also has arrests for soliciting prostitution. So just a coincidence then that he keeps being found with all these women who are prostitutes, and yet he denies being their pimp. The defendant in his statement to parole and probation says the state of Nevada was being crafty, and that's why he's in the situation that he's in. He takes no responsibility for the impact he has had on the women that he's encountered in his life. Those prostitutes, these women that he's turned into prostitutes, or at least encouraged them to prostitute, not to mention the 14-year-old juvenile that he impregnated. Judge, the most important thing to pimps is getting out of jail, because that's where they make their money. He's been in custody for 397 days, and rightfully so. There's a reason that he's been in jail. We're asking that he stay in. He preyed on this 14-year-old little girl and had intercourse with her. But what does he tell you is his main concern? Getting out so he can get on with his music career. That's what's important to this defendant.
Stop right there. You have a chump online who takes advantage of a young girl, a teenager who hasn't even been to high school yet. So you mean to tell me you're a pimp and you're 24 years old and you got hustled by a 13-year-old? And you say you're from Chicago? Come on, man, talk to me. What do you all think? Do you think that he got out-pimped by a 13-year-old and he's 24 years old? Huh? And he tells you that he's working for God. So is God a pimp? Is God a pimp? Is God a person that uses his creation to make him rich? So if God is a pimp, it could be said that the Virgin Mary was raped by God, seeing that, but, spiritually, however the book goes, we know how the book goes. I am in no way naive to those stories, and I'm sure you all know that by now. We're not stupid here. And he denies the baby all the way up to the point that the DNA came back. Now he's stuck. And all of you low vibrational people out there who support him, all in his chat room. And he always talking about how he's coming down from the heavens, how he's not going to come down from heaven to argue with a chick. Really? You came up from hell, Satan. That's why your name is Sinful, because you're from Satan. Sinful, the P, not for a pimp, but Sinful, the P, for predator. Sinful, the P, for predator. If I'm not mistaken, the young girl had a daughter. So are you going to pimp your own daughter? Seeing that you don't mind going up inside children, not even in high school. Hey, Philip Gilmore, you can save all of that baloney for Oscar Mayer. You did? But check this out. We're going to continue with this bozo so-called pimp, aka predator, who lives now in Canada. I'm just saying. Not to mention the fact that we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to him and R. Kelly in a minute. But check him out.
Not fathering or supporting the child that he just had with this 14-year-old. All of those things together, Judge Warren.
Talking about he working on music.
30 consecutive. We think the probation recommendation by the division is wholly inappropriate in this case, and we're going to submit it on that.
Do you want to say anything, Mr. Gilmore?
Listen to this clown. Listen to this predator. What she felt to mention, she lied about her age.
She admits in the interview that she said she was 19. Not only did she lie about her age with false identification, and she admitted that there's a lot of those statements along with Mrs. Harper and Mrs. Morton also saying that she said she was 19.
Y'all hear that? I hope y'all hearing it.
I judged her for her conscience to even allow her to even come to
If you're not hearing, I'm going to tell you exactly what it said.
Something that I've done to make her assume that she couldn't be around me and say that she was 14. So that's why she had to lie about her age. What she also failed to bring up was the case with the domestic violence and the other pandering, and the so-called alleged victims in this case are of age. 19, 23, 22.
Okay. That might be cool what you just said, Philip Gilmore, that all of the other people that you messed with, the young ladies, were of age. They were older than 18. They started at 19, 23, and 30 something, right? 29. Okay, but this girl is 13. Like I said, you mean to tell me that you cannot tell a 13-year-old versus a 19-year-old? Are you telling me that you can't tell the difference between a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old? Is that what you're telling me, Sin? I'm sorry, Satan. Oh, I'm sorry, the predator. Oh, I'm sorry, the sex trafficker. Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me that you can't tell the difference between a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old. I'm just saying. Check him out. Is he a sex trafficker? Is he a child molester? That's the question you should be asking yourself while you sit there and follow the man. While you sit there in the chat room and listen to what he says. And then he tells you, low IQ people, don't come in my comment section with that nonsense. Hey, I called him. I told him in his chat room he's defending the child molester, meaning R. Kelly. And then he immediately said that, man, don't come in my chat room and that. Oh, no, that's 100. If you defend R. Kelly, you are a child molester, bro. Hey, ask his brother, Kerry Kelly, about Mo. Okay? Ask Kerry Kelly about Mo and the tape that, or the interview that we did for my show. Ask him that. Ask his brother, Kerry Kelly. Ask him. His homie Mark introduced me to Kerry Kelly. Mark was a singer, so make sure you ask about Mark, who was a security guard at a school. I'm not going to tell you what school because I worked at that school. But ask him about a security guard named Mark. And did not Mark introduce him to a brother named Mo who did an interview on him in regards to his brother? I'm just saying. You do that. I don't have to LIE. In fact, about it, I'm going to try to go inside my catalogs, volumes of material to show you the interview. In fact, where Kerry Kelly said that his brother tried to offer him $1 million to take the case. You are defending a pedophile. All of these young girls, you and Robert have been pimping. He's just been doing it at a different level. Not to mention the fact he's been urinating all over them. And you're going to defend that. You're going to defend that. Hey, we're going to keep going here. Yeah.
The definition according to the state was to entice a woman to become a prostitute or get into the continuity of it. I didn't need it. She sat up there and she said when they asked her, first of all, they had an interview with no parent, no guard, and no lawyer there, so they were able to basically coach the girl all throughout 3 interviews with her, which everything is contrary one to another. And they asked her, said, well, what did he say to entice you to get into prostitution? He really didn't say anything. And what she also failed to bring up was that Mr. Jordan has been engaged in prostitution, but at least she professed that she had since the age of 12 years old.
Stop. Did y'all hear that? He just said that the young girl whom outslicked him said that she's been prostituting since the age of 12 years old. Now, are you going to continue to let him hustle you? Because he's sitting here telling me that a 13-year-old hustled him. He didn't even use a Jimmy. He just splashed all in. Music career? What music career? Oh, singing about your God. If God is your God, that means God is Satan. That means that your God allows you to run around here and sex traffic young girls, get them impregnated, and then you make a deal for probation. Do you all hear how much time he was facing on different counts? And that time was to be ran consecutive. Now, his God got him out of that. And he's still pimping. He's still pimping. He's still talking about rearranging a chick mouthpiece, rearranging her hairdo, talking about if, which one is better, a Mac or a pimp? Obviously a pimp because you won, right? Do you want your daughter to be pimped? In fact, about it, anybody out there, do you want your daughter to be pimped? Now, yeah, he can come back with some slick stuff because he's always saying something slick out his mouth. He got a little foxiness in him, but you're only 38. You're my junior. You're my junior. And you are out here messing up the minds of these young girls, having them going around to sleep with men for your benefit. Why don't you go pimp yourself out? If you all of that, go pimp yourself out and make yourself the prostitute. Then you don't have to worry about going to jail. He talked about the young girl being coached. Don't you coach if you a pimp? Don't you coach your hoes how to pimp? But in this case, I guess the teenager coached you, seeing that you're the victim. He even says that he's the victim. How is he the victim? He got caught out there bad. And luckily he didn't have a record. Because if he had a record, he would be finished. Finished. I'm going to let him talk a little bit more, but I'm going to end this in a minute. I didn't expect this live to go this long.
And she's already an actress. That's what she does. She's a manipulator. She lied to me. And as far as the living of the earnings of prostitution, she professes that she gave the money to Mrs. Harper. Mrs. Harper says that she gave the money to Mrs. Morton. Mrs. Morton says that I wasn't a pimp, and she never gave me any. So the money never even made it to my hand. You understand? The reason why I pled guilty to this is because since I've been incarcerated, I've been able to see other inmates go to trial and get broke off, lose, and stay in prison for the rest of it. They all talking this appeal talk, and from me looking in, I don't think it's going to transpire. I don't see it happen. So I just thought this would be the best mind to take the deal. They came with this new information as far as this girl being impregnated. I confess that I did not have sex with her. They come at the last minute. The dates.
Hey, you had sex with her because the baby's yours. That's the only way you get a baby with your DNA is you have sexual intercourse. Lesson number 1. You don't get pregnant by looking at somebody. So you need to stop that nonsense right now. You can't get pregnant.
Now, granted, the prosecutor, she's not as sly with the tongue as he is. But the fact remains, and I want all of you Christians to listen to this good. You cannot have a child without having sex. I'm going to say that again. And I want you Christians to listen to me good. You cannot have a child without having sex. And in this case, Sinful the P had sex with that 13-year-old girl. Are you going to let him to continue to trick you? I'm just saying. My battery's running dead here. Where's my cord? Whoop. Can't lose this live. There we go. Got some more juice. But what do you think? It's sad. They banned Louis Farrakhan. They banned Alex Jones. Hell, the media banned Frankie Goes to Hollywood years ago with Relax. And they're not going to ban this pimp, Sinful the P. when he is a known child molester, but he say he's the victim? Can you tell the difference between a 13-year-old and a 19-year-old? And I say 13 years because it was 13 when he first approached the girl. But she told him, according to him, that she's been hoeing since she was 12. And he got a baby by her. I'm just saying. What's your conviction on this? I got a little bit more. And he pleaded guilty. I understand that pressure busts pipes, but when you're looking at all of this boatload of time, but he didn't have any record which helped him. And he has beaten all his cases that he's been caught up in. Do you think that Sinful the P should stop pimping if he's talking about God? Is God a pimp? Will God go pimp your daughter out? Will God go tell your daughter to go get on that corner and go hoe for me and bring me back my money, bitch? Will God do that? Would God empower a person to have that type of persuasiveness over your daughter? Or is that the job of Satan? Because Satan is a god too. I'm going to say that again. Satan is a god too. So this man is working for Satan. You got, I don't know how many millions of people that's working for not a pimp on YouTube. And man, their subscribers is in the can. Not that their material isn't good. But if you sit here and you tell me that Sinful the P material is better or more educational than the MOPOWERZ on YouTube, I would highly have to question your intelligence. How silly can you be to get suckered by a predator? How simple can you be as an adult to get suckered by a predator and then partake of his child molestation activity in the chat room? How is that? He always talk about don't come in his chat room saying, man, don't come in my chat room asking me to sing you no shots out, man. That's, what is that? I mean, he got words and phrases for everything under the sun. But do you think that Sinful the P is a child molester? Do you think that Sinful the Predator is a child predator? What do you think?
Okay.
You know what? I'm not going to give this clown no more time. I'm not going to give this clown any more time. If this clown has however many thousand subscribers that he's got, yeah, y'all need to press that subscribe button for me. If you are the follower of a child molester, it's safe to say that you yourself are a child predator or child sex trafficker, or you don't mind being in the environment in which that business takes place. I'm just saying. Pimp or predator, sex trafficker or child molester, pimp or punk. Leave your comments in the comment section. It's your brother, the from Chicago, where knowledge is power. Remember, the shirt is your third eye that makes you shine like Jerry. And if you haven't done so already, press the subscribe button below. View the videos. Hit the notification bell so that you can get all the new videos that I upload on YouTube, and press the subscribe buttons. Talk about this here. Are pimps sex traffickers? Are pimps child predators if the girl is 13 years old? And never, ever, by all means, never give up on your dreams. Thanks for bringing you all. It's your brother, M.O. Peace out. I didn't expect it to go that long.